Let's look at some evergreen trees in identification video number 14. We will look at a couple of hollies in the American holly and the Yaupon, as well as the Leyland Cypress and Eastern Redcedar. So getting started, let's take a look at the American holly. The American holly is Ilex opaca, Ilex meaning any of the hollies, and this is the American holly, so it'll be opaca. But the American holly is going to have that glossy green leaf on that top side with 3 to 5 spines on each side. This is seen in the wild as an understory tree, but these leaves are going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 inches long. Again, it is evergreen. When you look at the hollies, the American holly will have those red berries, green berries turning red later on in the growing season. But the American holly is that understory tree, Ilex opaca, and then you have the Yupon. Okay, you got a couple of cuttings of Yupon here. Ilex vomitoria. The legend is that the Indians danced around and ate the berries to make them sick, basically, or it would make them throw up. So vomitoria is a good way to. That's a good way to remember the scientific name. You eat enough of these berries, they'll make you sick, make you vomit. Okay, so the Yaupon, Ilex vomitoria, is also evergreen. When you look at the leaves themselves, very small leaf, 1, maybe 2 inches long, but generally 1, maybe even a little less, and 1/4 inch to 1 inch in width. They're going to be oval leaves, and the margins on the edge are going to have these rounded teeth. The fruit itself is 1/4 inch, roughly, and it will also turn red. The Yaupon is kind of used as more of a hedge in the landscape if it's used in the landscape where American holly is more of an understory tree. Okay, so let's look at next is the Leyland Cypress. The Leyland Cypress, if you'll look here, one of the distinct features when you look at it is these branchlets have this flat plane. So it branches in that flat plane. It's also going to be bluish green in color. Now, the Leyland Cypress, Cupressocyparis x Leylandii, is a hybrid. So it's not going to have any pollen or seed bodies on it. Okay? The bark itself, we'll flip it over on the back side, and again, this kind of shows you how it branches in that flat plane. The bark is reddish brown and scaly. In the landscape, this is used largely as a screening tree in order to screen out the neighbors or make a good put on a fence row in order to kind of grow up and give a little bit of privacy in a homeowner's backyard. Lastly, we have the Eastern Redcedar. Eastern Redcedar's scientific name is Juniperus virginiana, and it's going to have these scale-like needles as well that are short. The fruit is basically a round ball that is 1/4 inch to 1/3 inch in diameter that will turn dark blue at maturity. When you look at the tree as a whole, the crown is compact and shaped kind of like a pyramid. So the Eastern Redcedar is actually kind of a pioneer species in the sense that it was the first traditional southern Christmas tree. So a lot of people use these as Christmas trees. Some still do today, but there's new varieties that people might prefer over some other ones. But this was used as a Christmas tree in the past. Other than that, the Eastern red cedar also gets its name red cedar because of that red heart that's in the middle as it gets older. A lot of people are familiar with the furniture that's built from cedar trees. That pretty red that's ingrained in the wood and in the middle of the wood is denoted by the Eastern red cedar and makes it popular for furniture. So let's review the 4 evergreens that we looked at in this video. First, we had these dark glossy leaves with the 3 to 5 spines on each side. Okay, this was American holly, Ilex opaca. Then we saw some smaller leaves from this holly, okay, with those rounded teeth on the margins of the smaller leaves, Ilex vomitoria or Yaupon. Then we looked at a popular screening plant in the landscape with that branches on a flat plane, the bluish green scale-like needles, the Leyland Cypress. Then we had, lastly, the first traditional southern Christmas tree with those scale-like needles. Okay, this is the Eastern red cedar. That makes the 4 trees for this identification video.